Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 331 of the Hoots podcast. It's yours truly, the nefarious brother Adam, aka Joshie Lopez. It is Thursday, October 13, 2022. The road to 500 episodes continue on, but also the road to 100, not 100, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube continues. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Josh Lopez Media, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss an edition of the podcast that Hoots. And it comes to you free of charge. I might add some extra content along the way to keep the channel upping and growing. But all in all, subscribe to our channel. And when we do these live streams, especially video editions of the Hoots podcast, we want to interact with you. So if you have any questions that you can partake in our back porch Q&A session, feel free to ask us anything you want about the world of professional wrestling or life in general. It's not just a professional wrestling podcast, but it's also a life podcast as well. I am joined, as always, by the director of all operations, the video boss himself, Brother Carter.
Thank you. Greetings and salutations to everybody checking out the show. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Once again, glad to be back 2 weeks in a row. The video boss is back. The director of all operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, numerators, denominators, all operations. Your boys got it covered. It's been a great week in wrestling. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of positive things, a lot of negative things in our segments, and I always cannot wait for our segment. But yeah, great to be back, and I think it's going to be a fun night. Now, I will say, we're recording this about an hour before Thursday Night Football, featuring Josh's Chicago Bears. So I don't know if Josh is going to be distracted as we get into what the hell is wrong with AEW or anything like that. So if he starts to go in and out, it's because he's probably watching his Bears down 14-0 early or something like that. I mean, like
Probably.
yeah. So, but now, good to be here, man. It's going to be a fun show.
Yes, as always, I want to let everybody know, as we usually do, be the out there product that is yourself.
Yep.
Hope you guys are having a wonderful week so far. I do like to say, for video purposes, this is not a bit. My bit is not just to be like, what's his name? Cartman from South Park.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I don't rock this skull cap all the time. My hair has been a living disaster for the last couple weeks, and I was supposed to get the cut of hair last week.
I was about to say, you're going to get a cut of the hair?
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately, my hair lady canceled on me last week, so it's been kind of bummer trying to reschedule stuff and hopefully get this out soon. But didn't want to look presentable. I didn't want to come off the vibe like, oh, Josh just wears skull caps and he's just a bum all day. That's not necessarily the case.
It is all good.
But yeah, another podcast. We got a lot of questions, so it's time
to
get into the back porch Q&A session. As I put on Twitter, this is going to be an extensive one. So you're in for a good ride here in the Who's podcast, and hopefully you can enjoy it. And let's see what's on your mind this week. As always, we start off with the good brother Chris Zaletta. Throw up the X at XTeamZaletta24X on the Twitter machine. He says the following: "What up, Oops? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Question number 1, best match from Bound for Glory. If you missed last week's edition of the Hoots podcast, I did have to remind everybody, in the midst of the 20 wrestling shows I did this past weekend, Bound for Glory also went down this past Friday night.
The same night as both SmackDown and Rampage, right?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure. Yeah.
Let's not forget Battle of the Belts 4, which drew 300,000 viewers.
But Josh, I'm not gonna put up with this fucking shit. Okay, anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, Bound for Glory, TNA's biggest show of the year. I thought it was a solid show. Again, like I mentioned last week, was I happy to shell out $40 for this pay-per-view? No. But work calls, so it is what it is. I made the best out of the situation. I thought the main event was awesome. Josh Alexander and Eddie Edwards, I thought was a fantastic match for the Impact World title. I thought Jordan Grace and Masha Slamovich over-delivered in their match for the Knockouts World title match. Hey, brother Carter, Bobby Fish is an Impact. Does that tickle your fancy?
No. He was
Oh.
he was probably well, heck, even when he was with he wasn't great when he was in NXT. I mean, he was okay, but he was just a disaster in AEW. Of course, anybody's a disaster in AEW. Did I see that Bully Ray returned?
Yes, that's right. He did.
That's cool.
He won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. Basically, it's a battle royal. If whoever wins gets to have a title match of their choosing.
So Bully Ray gets a title match.
Yes. So
wow.
I'm going to see what's going to go down with the fall off for Impact once I'm done recording this podcast. So I am covering Impact tonight. So I thought the pay-per-view was pretty good. The Mike Bailey Frankie Kazarian X Division Championship match was phenomenal. Mike Bailey is a tremendous wrestler. It's kind of a bad showing for AEW that Frankie Kazarian can still put on barn burners in different companies, but he can't get any fucking TV time on TBS or TNT. Wow. But nonetheless, let's move on to the next question. Thoughts on the TV title for New Japan Pro Wrestling? I gotta take this one too. For those who don't know, in the spirit of the 50th anniversary of New Japan and try to get more viewers and subscribers, New Japan has decided to introduce a new title. It's the NJPW World Television Championship. So basically, the streaming service for New Japan is having their own TV title, if you will, on the program.
Okay. That's fine.
I personally don't have an issue with this. I said it when it went down that I was not a proponent of New Japan combining the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships together at that time. I get it, they wanted to satiate Jay White and all the stuff with him getting in the way of multiple feuds going to Wrestle Kingdom, but I thought the whole double gold dash thing just took away from the product, and the Intercontinental title was a good thing, and the only two biggest mid-card titles they had was the Never Openweight title and then the IWGP US Championship that was end up being a curse for a lot of performers and never really got to build some momentum. So I hope it's a good thing. It gets other guys an opportunity at a singles championship that they wouldn't get if it wasn't just like a tag team or trios titles. They got trios titles there too. So me personally, I think it's a cool idea and I hope it works out for them. They actually started off their tournament this weekend. I have 4 New Japan shows, which I'm actually pretty happy about that I can do this weekend. This is going to be good for your boys. So I think it's a cool idea, and I hope it works out for them.
Great. Awesome.
All right, let's go to the next one. Where do you think the OTK, that is Mike Bennett, Maria Kanellis, and Matt Taven end up?
Well, I've heard reports that WWE is interested in Matt Taven, bringing him in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if under the new regime they'd be willing to bring back Mike Kanellis and Mike and Maria Kanellis. I thought that they were pretty entertaining. Honestly, when they were in WWE, I thought that was great. Like and he's amazing, amazing. I thought that was pretty funny. So, and I think Mike Kanellis is very talented. So, I'd be okay with him being maybe back in NXT or something like that. I think that'd be fine. I hope that they don't go nowhere near All Elite Wrestling because they will get ruined there, especially Maria Kanellis. But lumped into that god-awful women's division, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But so I thought maybe NXT would be good, especially if they end up signing Matt Taven. So I think that'd be cool.
Right. I think for me, Brother Carter, I'll say that I'd rather prefer to stay in Impact or, maybe stay with NWA. I know they made on and off appearances on the NWA. Yes, the NWA still exists, ladies and gentlemen. you should watch it. It has some good stuff. And, hey, you get to see Velvet Sky, so you can't go wrong with some good waterfall,
Didn't you say, their Power show not too long? Is that their weekly show?
Yeah, that's their main show. And then they have another one they do on the weekend called NWA USA.
Oh, okay.
It's both of those shows are like 45 minutes. They're not really long. They're just
fine.
Good, quick to the point YouTube shows, which is good content to consume when you have a lot of shows that go for 2 hours or 3 hours and kind of separate each other. I'm kind of bummed that I haven't been able to do an MLW show. So they've been on their TV hiatus, if you will, for the last couple of months. So go check out NWA and see some of the other products. They're not just WWE or AEW related. So I appreciate you, Chris, for switching up the flow of the wrestling questions here.
Absolutely.
Who would you put in this possible Bray Wyatt stable if there's going to be one?
Ooh. Well,
here's the first question. Does Bray Wyatt need a stable? And two, do you think it's going to happen?
Well, he definitely doesn't need a stable. I wouldn't mind if he had like a female consort like he did with Alexa Bliss, which I actually think Josh could work with Liv Morgan. Because, you know, we've seen Liv Morgan have a little bit like she was smiling and kind of getting psychotic near the end of SmackDown last week. So I think he does need a female counterpart. But I mean, his stable can be his Firefly Funhouse characters. And I think that would be totally fine. So, but I think a female counterpart to that would be really cool. Maybe Liv Morgan.
Possibly Liv Morgan. A lot of people are saying, I think there was some rumors out there. You're the better ones to tell me this than I would know. Something about Bo Dallas coming back to the WWE?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely rumors that Bo Dallas is planning to return, but I just don't know if that would. I don't know. I mean, we've only seen this kind of goofy side of Bo Dallas with the Bo Leave, which, by the way. And also, him and Curtis Axel are an underrated tag team. I'm sorry, that whole B team thing was hilarious. It was so good. I was sad that they didn't get more of a push, but so maybe it could work. I don't know.
What was the other group? Social Outcasts,
something like that. Yeah, something like that. But,
let's add some Pittsburgh to this Social Outcasts.
There you go. Yeah. So yeah, well, we'll see. But to answer the question, I don't think he needs a stable, but I think he does need a female counterpart.
Okay. There's plenty of different options you could go with. I think for me, if you do want to do a stable, I dropped in T-Bar. If you want something different. Maybe you add the guys like Joe Gacy and the Grizzled Young Veterans. They're called the Dyad in NXT. I think they can work with that group. And then, Liv Morgan, it's not a bad option. I'll give you that. It's a good pick, if you will. Or you could put Nikki Cross in there.
I wondered about Nikki Cross. I think that could also lead to a feud with Alexa Bliss because Alexa Bliss is like, I've been there, I've done it, it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's easy storytelling right there, too. So we'll see.
Yep. Are you surprised Gallows and Anderson returned to WWE or not really?
Yes.
This is something we were going to talk about earlier, but I guess we should get it out of the way.
Sure. Yeah, I would say, I thought we get into this when we get into Raw. So I'll say this. I was shocked that Gallows and Anderson returned. Like that came out of nowhere for me. I was like, oh, okay, sure. Yeah. And as soon as I saw this, I didn't see it live. I went back and watched it afterwards. I immediately texted Josh and said, I'm still holding judgment. And I'm not going to give the Good Brothers a pass. We're not going to go back to the Good Brothers Q&A session or anything like that. We're not doing any of that until we see what they can do because they were so bad in AEW and in Impact. Well, in Impact, they were okay. But in AEW, they were so bad that I'm still holding judgment until we see what they can do. I'm most happy for Carl Anderson because I think Carl Anderson was kind of the out of the two of them has the more potential. So we'll see. I happy for them. Obviously, they thought it was a good fit to go back now that Triple H was in charge. Fine, all good. Happy for them to go and make their money and be with AJ Styles, and that's all good. But I'm still holding judgment until we see what they can really do. And with correct booking and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll see. But I'm definitely willing to give it a chance.
I think for me, like I'm not working out or like cloud nine that they're back. I will say that my disdain for them is kind of reared back down since they stopped making appearances on AEW, and I've been able to appreciate a little bit more of their work on Impact and New Japan for the last 5 or 6 months. Really, that whole era, that whole run with Kenny Olivier and Don Fallis was just terrible TV. Just JoJo Dutch to the X, and it's just them being a good tag team is not a revelation to everybody. What I'm happy for them is that they're doing something that's actually worthwhile for them, and
sure.
somebody that actually have real chemistry with. I just didn't see it with Olivia. I just thought it was forced and more trying to reunite old school Bullet Club, where it's not really a draw as it was 10 or 12 years ago.
Well,
everything we said about the Goof Brothers and everything in between, that still remains intact. But for me, I'm happy they're back because they're actually doing something worthwhile instead of being Kenny Olivier and Jay White's bitches. So
trying to recreate Bullet Club because the only stable in the world that matters, Josh, is Bullet Club.
Yeah, too sweet. By the way, are we going to get the 25th anniversary of Bullet Club? And will they actually give credit where credit's due to the Click this time or no?
No, probably not. But I will say we'll get into this when we talk to Rob. But the DX stuff this week was hilarious. It was so funny. We'll get into that here in a little bit.
All right, next question. Do you think it's possible we can see a little bit of business done between WWE with New Japan and Impact, knowing that Anderson and Gallows' relationship with both companies? Well, for those who don't know the situation right now, it looks like Gallows and Anderson will finish out their run with New Japan through this next Wrestle Kingdom, and then they'll probably be more exclusive to WWE. I don't know. I've been consistent with this. I think the whole Forbidden Door thing is a fleeting concept. I don't think it really does anything to elevate different promotions. Yeah, it's cool to have super matches and dream cards and stuff like that. But honestly, even being at the Forbidden Door show at the United Center, Bernard Carter, I didn't feel like it was anything that was propping up New Japan. I thought it was an AEW show featuring New Japan. And that's what this whole vibe's been for me. Could it work? I don't know what it looks like with the WWE and so-and-so company working together. I haven't seen what that looks like. I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to being wrong there, but go ahead.
We've seen hints of this when they announced Mickie James as the Impact Knockouts champion was going to be in the Royal Rumble. So
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think WWE, especially now with Triple H, is open to it. Maybe not necessarily like a partnership, but just acknowledging that, this person came in from Impact Wrestling, or this person, like if they say, and Carl Anderson, because Carl Anderson holds a title in Japan, doesn't he?
Yes, he's the never open weight champion.
Right. So like if they say Carl Anderson, never weight open champion in New Japan, like that's cool. Like, and honestly, Josh, I would bet most of the WWE audience would have no idea what they're talking about because they just don't, they don't watch a lot of, WWE has more casual fans, I would imagine, than it does like you and I, like hardcore wrestling fans. So, or what AEW claims to have. So like some of them were like, oh, fine. New Japan. I doubt they're going to go and go, what's New Japan? Hey, I'm going to stop watching WWE because I've heard of New Japan. Like, no, that's not what's going to happen.
I'll say this. People could call this a hot take or not, but if you look at business and reach, WWE has more of a global reach and distribution-wise than AEW, New Japan, and Impact combined together.
Times 7. Like it's just despite what Tony Clown thinks, like AEW is not a destination. I'm sorry, it is not a destination. Well, it is if it's where careers go to die, or if you can't cut the mustard somewhere else.
Hey, I just call it like it is. It's a WWE rehab center.
All right.
Let's get to, oh my God.
Except the problem is they stay there and they keep drinking because AEW makes you drink. Go ahead.
I understand rehab is important for people, and I'm not.
Of course.
I'm not. It's a joke.
Yeah. Well, we've got to say this, and again, just a reminder: like everything we do, we try to have some fun, and it's everything we say is in jest. Like we want AEW to be successful because if AEW is successful, then professional wrestling is successful. But we also call a spade, and that's what we do here on the podcast that Hoots. Carry on.
And that's a shoot, brother. All right, last question here for Chris. He says, "Who do you think Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade will pick for each other's opponents for their pick your poison match?" So that's a little feud they got going on here. I think Roxanne's gonna be on SmackDown tomorrow, and then Cora Jade will be on Raw. Kind of like what they're doing here, where you give some select NXT talents here, there, an opportunity to have a match on Raw or SmackDown like that. I think it's pretty cool. I think Roxanne Perez would probably fight Natalya or Shayna Baszler or something like that. And as far as Cora Jade's concerned, I don't know if she fights Candice LeRae unless it's that the only option for her to fight. I thought it'd be pretty cool to have her against Bianca, but Bianca's all clogged up with the dance control stuff. So for me, it's either Candice LeRae, Asuka, or Alexa Bliss.
Right.
So
well, we've heard that Alexa Bliss and Asuka are hurt. I don't know if that's just if that's real or not. We don't know.
Is that rumor and innuendo?
I haven't heard. I don't know. I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm not the Ariel Helwani or Adam Schefter of wrestling rumors just yet. So working on it.
Hey, unlike a lot of people in this field, you have standards. I
try.
Brother Carter. Yes.
Which means that Marks are the first ones to call me out for, not being fair, which proves that I have standards, but carry on.
Yes. Thank you, Chris, for the questions this week. Appreciate you, brother, as always. Let's go to Patrick Fritz.
Oh, boy.
Rated PWF himself, the Patriots fan. Let's do this. What is your undercard for Crown Jewel now that we are a couple of weeks away?
Oh, that is coming up, isn't it?
Crown Jewel is on the 5th or 12th. Which day is it?
I think it's the 5th. It's the 5th, yeah.
My grandpa's birthday is on the 5th.
Here, let me look it up here. Just a second here. But I think it's the 5th. Yeah, Saturday, November 5th.
Okay. It's during the day. Maybe I go by my grandpa's house and say happy birthday to him and hang out and jam a little bit. So that'd be pretty cool. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple matches I think off the top of my head we can expect. Obviously, we've got Logan Paul and Roman Reigns. I think it's safe to say Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
would be a good one.
I don't know if they'll do. Maybe they might have the final blow off with Rollins and Riddle.
I was about to say Rollins and Riddle for the U.S. title, possibly.
I have Edge and Beth Phoenix against Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley as a mixed tag team match.
Could you do something like I don't know, Damien, or if they wanted to make an 8-man tag and do Beth Phoenix, Edge, Rey Mysterio, and somebody versus Judgment Day or something like that?
Maybe. I was thinking that's the. Do you do the mixed tag? Do you do Judgment Day versus the club straight up? You can probably do that. That's probably more realistic if you're thinking about it.
Yeah, that could be.
Gunther and Sheamus. Do you say that for Survivor Series? I don't know.
Josh, this event is tricky because WWE and this could be the last of like Vince McMahon's kind of dealings and stuff like that, because they essentially have to book 2 pay-per-view events in a month. You've got Crown Jewel coming up, and then Survivor Series is only a couple weeks after that. Let me get the date on that. But so this, and again, like I give Triple H a pass on this because, he's just trying to, take over for Vince McMahon. Also, we have to remember, and they've got to build this up quickly, is War Games is happening at Survivor Series as well.
Yeah.
So they've got to do something to build up War Games as well. So they've just got to book. So if they want to do more of like fantasy booking, which Crown Jewel is typically your fantasy booking pay-per-view.
Yeah, plus you got to think about the guys who usually don't go to these events. Like you're probably not going to see Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens at the show. I don't recall the last Crown Jewel event that Sami Zayn wrestled, or if he even wrestled one of them since they've been doing these. I mean, you have your marquee matches already, like you said, Roman Reigns and Logan Paul. Probably gonna do Bianca and Bayley. I think maybe a 6-woman tag, something like that. Probably. We'll have to see. I mean, again, it is Crown Jewel, so you don't really have to put too much mental gymnastics to it. People call it a house show. It's a live event for the people in the country. I don't think they should be precluded from watching wrestling. Yes, everybody in Ray Charles could say that what they do political-wise is an issue, but I don't think that should preclude them from watching the shows.
They've got to run a Fiend match, I think, as well.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. Here's the thing with Bray Wyatt, man. Have him be an attraction. He does not need championships. No. He does not need to be on TV every single week. He does not need to be on pay-per-views, every single premium live event. Have him as an attraction. He does not need to be on all these shows.
Well, I'm just thinking because it's, Crown Jewel, they tend to treat it like it's a super event, like a WrestleMania, like a half of a WrestleMania kind of thing. So that's why that leads me to believe the Fiend will be on there, but we'll see. I'm sure we'll get some more answers this week on SmackDown and in the couple weeks leading up to Crown Jewel.
Or some people will say Crown Royal, but I don't drink, so I don't know what that's like.
Oh, it's delicious. Carry on.
I'll take your word for it. Yes. Is Crown Jewel's Roman Reigns' last title defense of 2022?
Yes. I will say his next defense will be day one.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. We'll keep it short and sweet there. I'll say yes. All right, let's go to the next question here. Possible Judgment Day / Bloodline altercation going forward.
Maybe.
I guess it just has to line up at the right time. It look like, what's it going to be? Is this scenario where one of the members of Judgment Day gets a title shot against Roman at the Day 1 show? There's not a pay-per-view in December. I think it's a cool match and a concept, but also you got to remember these are both heel factions.
Right.
I get it that everybody loves the Bloodline. We all love the Bloodline, and they get pots and everything. But again, at the end of the day, both of these are heel factions. So could it happen? Maybe. Am I putting all my cards and decks into it? Probably not.
No, because it's, again, like you said, how do you set that up? And because WWE actually does booking that makes sense. So why would you have two heel factions against each other? Yeah.
And we talked about this before, and I talked about this with Pat when he co-hosted a couple of weeks ago. I just think, honestly, the only way that's going to work having Judgment Day go against the Bloodline is if Seth Rollins links up with Judgment Day and fights the Bloodline. That's the only way I can see it happening.
Or if they decide to split the titles from Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And get a world title on Raw and then keep the Universal title on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Would be the only other way. So I don't know.
Thank you, Pat, for the questions this week. Appreciate you.
And I apologize in advance for your football team this year. They're a bit of not good.
Hey, I won't go that far. The almighty Aaron Rodgers had to go to overtime to.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. But that's me. That means you're insinuating that Green Bay is actually talented, and they're. Of course, they got beat by the Giants this past week, but I have a feeling the Giants may actually be good. So.
Don't tell that to Dean Orlovsky, who's like, oh, just wait till you see this Packers offense blow up. Yeah, they'll blow up and then they won't show up.
Correct.
In the playoffs like they usually do.
AJ Dillon has been screwing me every week in fantasy football. I'm just saying. Let's go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Next batch questions comes from our good brother Second City Sam.
Yes.
At Second City Sam, Sam Piopo. Make sure to check out his latest edition of Second City Sam's Hot Takes, his podcast. A new episode dropped yesterday before Dynamite, and trust me, you get more return of your investment on Sam's podcast than you will on TBS.
I believe that.
Yes. All right. First question here. He says, who would you rather have book your wrestling company, Tony Khan or Dixie Carter? Easy answer for me, Dixie Carter.
Dixie Carter, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not close.
Yeah, absolutely not. Next question.
Favorite male and female NXT wrestler of the WWE network era. So I guess he's talking pre-Peacock.
Yeah.
Of NXT.
For me, the male is Shinsuke Nakamura, and I hope that we'll get to see more of him. He's kind of faded off, unfortunately, in the last little while, but he's always been my favorite NXT superstar. So Shinsuke Nakamura with a close second being Adam Cole. And for female, probably Asuka, I think, is who I'm going to go with.
It's not bad. Two males for me is Kevin Owens and Tommaso Ciampa. And then for the ladies, it's Paige and Shayna Baszler.
Good choices.
Yes.
Good choices.
Oh, you bastard. Here we go. Penelope Ford versus Mickie James in a waterfall contest. Who you got?
If for the people that can't see this on the audio podcast, I am currently closing my lips and throwing away the key because this one's all brother Adam. Go ahead, my friend.
I can't go wrong either way. It's like a getaway trip at what's the water park attraction to Six Flags? What's this called?
No, not Schlitterbahn, is it? No.
What's the water park being attached to Six Flags?
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Let me type this up.
Yeah, you gotta look it up here.
Oh, yeah. I can't go wrong with these two. It's like Hurricane Harbor.
Hurricane Harbor, that's what it is. Yeah.
Hurricane Harbor waterfall. I mean, I'm gonna go old school, and I'm gonna be consistent with the first waterfall that I fell for. It's Mickie James. She has literally everything to offer, and then some when it comes to the waterfall categories. She checks boxes. There's not enough checks to even attach to her box because that's how hot she is. So I'm gonna go with Mickie James. But
beautiful.
Oh, Sam, I knew I was gonna get that one soon. You bastard. All right, let's go to the next question here. Yes, for waterfall references, Hurricane Harbor, which is
Hurricane Harbor. Got it.
Okay. Six Flags. All right. If you had to convince an old WWE fan to start watching the product again, how would you convince them? Brother Carl, let the
I honestly watch Raw, watch SmackDown. It's gotten a lot better since Triple H has taken over. And I know, and you know, I know when we first started, be like, oh, okay, everyone's immediately going to say that it's better because Triple H has taken over. But it is. Raw and SmackDown are way better now that Triple H is in control. And like again, Vince McMahon did a lot of great things. He's a legend in the business, but it was time for him to go. And now that Triple H is back, we're getting a little bit more, you know, just a product that is connecting with more audience members, I think, while they still do all the promotional stuff for the kids and that sort of stuff. So I would say just get back in and watch Raw and SmackDown, and I think you won't be disappointed. Just do not watch AEW, because if you do that, you'll immediately be turned off to pro wrestling, to everybody involved. When you see like the Ocho and Miro, though you don't ever see Miro because Miro is useless. But anyways, I would say just watch Raw and SmackDown because it's gotten a lot better.
I would say either go on Twitter or watch a premium live event. Because either way, you got I would say use Twitter as an indicator as to why you should watch it, but if you see the volume and the amount of discussion that goes on with WWE, I've had people reach out to me. It's like, man, I go on Twitter and people are like, oh, WWE's at its all-time worst, and I had to go see it for myself. And it's like, oh, it's not really the case, which is most of the case when you talk about professional wrestling in general, because I don't really think people are actually watching the shows as opposed to, okay, they have the show on Brett Carter, but really they're having the show with binocular glasses on their table next to them, their couch, or wherever they're watching these shows. And they got their little notepads on their iPhones and ready to copy and paste it the second a thought comes to their head, just so they can get likes and retweets. And it's really, honestly, it's kind of hard to really present or make a PowerPoint presentation as Drew.
Yeah, there you go.
As to why you should watch WWE again. I'm not going to get into the whole Triple H versus Vince stuff. I'm not going to come in here and disrespect Vince McMahon. There's still good concepts from WWE from him that worked before he got his whole situation. But for me, I honestly say just watch, like Bert Carson, watch Raw. I would say the best gauge for the experience is watching a premium live event on Peacock. I think that's just the way. Challenge yourself. Convince yourself why you should watch it. Not let other people do it. I'd say either watch shows, figure it out for yourself. If it's something you want to watch, cool. If not, it is what it is.
Right. Well said. I like it.
You're gonna like this one. Pac should leave AEW.
Yes. Yeah. Bravo. Yeah. Bravo. Bravo. Yes. Standing ovation for Second City Sam. Yes. Yes. I wrote that actually in my notes for our segment. Yes. 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 Pac should leave AEW. Sorry. Was that the question?
No. He said Pac should leave AEW. What company would you like to see him wrestle for?
WWE. Get him back there as Neville. I think the whole evil thing was awesome. Yes. Get him back to WWE. He'd be fantastic.
Just to switch things up so we're not answering the same, not having the same answers, I'll go with New Japan or Impact.
Okay. I just think he's too good for AEW. Like, he needs to. There's a guy that should be competing for world titles. No, we'll get into it. Okay, go ahead.
Fucking embarrassing. That was the main event of a worldwide television show last night. How about this one? Who's your AL MVP, Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani? I'm just going to go with Judge just for the fact that I just don't think the Yankees are the same team without him. You know, I know it's easy to pick him because he broke the AL home run record, but honestly, I think with the Yankees, it's Aaron Judge or bust. I like Shohei Ohtani, but I'm going to go with Aaron Judge as far as MVP because Ohtani's a great player, but the Angels fucking suck. Right. They're brutal.
He needs to get out of He needs to get out of the Angels if he wants to win a chip.
Yeah, kind of feel bad for him and Mike Trout.
Yeah, no kidding. They need to get out of there.
Whew. What about you, Brett Carter? What you got?
I mean, I don't follow baseball that closely, so I couldn't really comment. But again, it's like we usually say the best players are with the best teams. Yes. And so, you know, if you are a game changer player on your team, you get better and you win games. So I'll say Aaron Judge just because of that. I mean, you see it with the NFL, you see it with the NBA, you see with like the best players tend to be on the best teams. So I'm going to say Aaron Judge just for that reason. I think you have to.
Yeah. Next question here. He says, final score for the Bears game tonight. He says mine is 22-12 Bears. I'm going to go 20-9 Bears.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right now, they said the over and under is at 37.5. Bears a 1 point favorite at home. It's a pick-a game, to be honest with you. But I'm going to go 20-9. Just too much stuff on the short week and drama and stuff with the Washington Commanders, and who knows? Maybe they blow the Bears out It's crazy. You heard about this, Brett Card? Carson Wentz is like 6-0 on Thursday Night Football with the 15 touchdown to 2-pick ratio or something like that. It's
Well, here's the crazy thing too, Josh. Wentz started pretty good actually at the start of this year. He was putting up pretty nice numbers.
yeah.
And then
hey, when you're playing the Detroit Lions, anybody can fill up the stat sheet, even Mitch Trubisky.
well, that's true too. Man, I feel bad for the Lions. They are the best 1-4, 1-5 team, perhaps of all time. You know, like they've just it's been heartbreaking because the Lions, they got firepower on offense, man. But their defense is terrible. But I will go, I'll say 14-10 Bears. And I hope I'm right because in one of my fantasy leagues, we figured throw the Bears as your defense because if you're playing Washington, I mean, you'll at least get 8 points or something like that. You know?
I mean, it can't really, honestly, it can't get worse than the Colts and Broncos last week, right? It can't get worse.
The sports shows the next day are hilarious. They were like, this is the worst football game we've ever seen. I'm like, I can't argue with you there, pal.
I heard Al Michaels on the radio the other day. He's like, if it's as bad as the Colts Broncos, he may consider retiring. All right, let's go to the next question. What advice would you give to someone who's overwhelmed with everything going on in their everyday life?
Well, as somebody who just went through this and had to take a little mental break a couple weeks ago from the Hoots podcast, it's it's hard, and everybody does this differently, I think. Correct. But people that are overwhelmed, it's sometimes you just got to stop and just say, you know what? I'm not doing this right now. I'm going to take a break from whatever it is I'm doing, and I need to get away, and I'm just going to stop for a little while and just ignore it for a little while, clear my head, and then after a day or two, just kind of get back into it and be like, okay, I got to deal with this now. Let's what can we do to make stuff better? And that can maybe allow you the opportunity to rethink about some things and perhaps find ways out of your situation. Like if you're in a situation that you don't like and all that stuff, you just got to, instead of saying how, you can either say, how can I make the situation better? Or how can I get in a different situation? You know, if I'm not happy with where I am in my life, what steps am I taking to change that part of my life? So that's what I would say is just, sometimes if you need to take a break, and then start asking yourself, if I don't like a particular aspect of my life, what am I doing to change that and to put myself in a different situation where I am happy with my life? And really finding out and really being honest with yourself about what makes you happy, not giving a fuck about what anybody thinks about that, being the authentic product that is yourself, as we talk about every week on the show, and going and doing that and not being ashamed of that. So that's what I would say are those just a few little nuggets from Professor Jericho.
I could say it better myself. I subscribe to this philosophy when it comes to bad energy. I go about it two ways: face it or forgive yourself. I honestly, no matter what the situation is, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed, either you can face the energy that's coming your way, even if you're not responsible for it. Either come in. I think it's okay to be in uncomfortable conversations. I think it's okay to say what you need to say and go about it and move forward within yourself. And again, if it's something that comes up or you feel like you're not wrong, either confront that situation and not let it sit through with you and fester, or just bury it and just forgive yourself. I've matured a lot over the last couple of years since I started doing podcasting and just in life in general over the last 5 or 6 years. And when I was younger, especially in high school, I lived in spite, and I'm not proud to say that. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life that just made me very, I wouldn't say bitter, but I couldn't trust people. I couldn't let people in. I couldn't really express myself the way I wanted to. And being overwhelmed was like a daily occurrence for me during that time period. And I think over the last 5 to 6 years, I really had the opportunity to take a step back and like, just ask myself, is this something really that I want to bring myself down on every day when I wake up, when I go to sleep? Um, why am I carrying baggage for stuff and shit that I'm not fucking responsible for? Why am I why am I beating myself up over what somebody thinks about me or what a family member thinks I should do with my own life? Just small things like that. It again, even in my case with the stuff with Lauren, and so it's like, and the conversation I had with you and Tony, I had to bury that shit. It is what it is. I had to forgive myself for her actions,
Correct.
and I had to bury that and live with that and grow from it. And I think I have. I really think I've matured and really took it upon myself to challenge myself to, like, if something's bothering me, why am I going to let it fester and fester and fester and then lash out at people because I can't handle myself when things get difficult. If you're feeling overwhelmed, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly. And that's what I was talking about with, just if you don't like your situation, then change your situation or take the steps. There's one person in the world who's responsible for, by and large, and this isn't always true, but most oftentimes the person who's responsible for the situation they're in is the person in the mirror.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do about it? Yeah, I agree with you, man.
They got this cool photo of Seth and Becky Lynch at Soldier Field. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that is cool. I like that. Yeah, that's cool. Good stuff. No, good stuff. Good question. Great question,
Sam. I appreciate you, brother. Would you like to see Matt Riddle win a main championship, and does he have what it takes? I would like to see maybe one title reign. I don't necessarily think that Riddle's performer, unless there's multiple, unless the 2 title thing is back. I don't see a scenario where Riddle's like a 3 or 4 time WWE champion or something like that. If he has one title reign, cool. But do I think he has what it takes? Sure. I just don't see it being a guy that's being like a 5-time champion, for the Carter. What do you think?
No, I listen. I've said for years that I think Matt Riddle is awesome. I absolutely think Matt Riddle is world title worthy. I think he's got an incredible connection with the fans. I think he's great at playing. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think he's great at his character and everything he does. I think he's great in the ring. I think Matt Riddle is fan-freaking-tastic. So definitely a U.S. title run for sure, if not a world title run. But the problem is, Josh, and this is kind of where WWE has booked themselves into a corner a little bit with Roman Reigns, that Roman Reigns is so like head and shoulders above everybody else. I can think of 2 people right now who could take the title off of him. Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe. And I think we might be able to get into this a little bit later on. But Riddle is definitely not one of the people I could see taking the title off of Roman Reigns. So that's where it gets tricky.
Right.
But do I think Riddle could be a world title holder? Absolutely. Absolutely. So we'll see.
Last question here for Sam here. He says, what's better in the fall/winter, homemade chili or homemade chicken soup? I'll take this one first. I'm not a chili guy, so I'll go with chicken soup.
And I am a chili guy, so I'll say chili. I make a pretty good chili, Josh. I'm not going to lie to you. In fact, I was going to make one this weekend. So, but yes, I'm definitely chili meat. Oh, you get that with some bread, get some sour cream and cheese in there. Ooh. On a cold day. Ooh.
I'm kind of curious for you. Like, you're out in Colorado. You've been in multiple states since you came to the U.S. and stuff. Yep. I'm curious for you. I don't think we ever had this conversation before, but like for you, like when it comes to like a college football day or the NFL, like what are like side things you eat? I'm not asking like what you eat for dinner, like breakfast,
sure.
But like if it's like a football situation, what are you eating?
I mean, I make a really good homemade salsa. So I have some homemade chips and salsa. I got some veggies and dip going. I got some beer going for sure. If it's game day, I'll cook some burgers, cook some hot dogs. If I'm at my brother's place, my brother is who you've had the chance to meet and to be with. He is one of the best meat preparers I have ever seen. I'm serious. I would put his brisket, his wings, his sausage, his burgers. I would put it against any of the top chefs in the world. It is unbelievable what he can do in the kitchen. So, but for me personally, give me some chicken wings, which I can make. I make chicken wings. Give me some chips and salsa, veggies and dip, beer. We're in good shape.
What?
What? Yeah. Show.
No, shout out to Scott. He's a good one out there.
He's a good dude. He's getting married in 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yes, I don't know if I told you that. Yeah, he's gonna be married, and I'm gonna be down in Austin in a couple weeks. He's getting married in a couple weeks, so that'll be good.
Tell him I said congrats.
I will do that. I'll do that.
Yeah, definitely one of these days we'll definitely have to hang out again and watch NFL or something like that. We'll make it happen soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Stan, for the questions this week. As always, brother, we got 2 more sets of questions to go here before we get to our next part.
All right, we'll have to try to rapid fire through these here.
Next, we go to Mike at Main Event Swerve down in Houston. Yes, sir. Let's see what he has here. Here are some things to ponder for the Back Porch Q&A session this week. Number 1, it starts out sad, but it gets better, I promise. So, One of my best friends ever, who I worked with for a decade, passed away a couple weeks ago.
Man.
How do you guys go to work and carry on with life while processing grief?
Well, for me, my faith is important, and talking to God about it and praying every day really helps me.
Yeah.
And just every day is easier. It's gonna suck for it's gonna suck for a while, and for certain people it sucks longer than others. And that's just part of life. We all grieve in our own different ways, and talk to somebody if you need to. Please see a therapist if you need to. I've been open about that on this show before, that I've started seeing a therapist over the last year, and it's been awesome. It's changed my life. 14 out of 10 would recommend it to anybody. See somebody if you need to. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And just know that each day is easier. And just as you adjust to a new normal in life, it's going to suck for a while. And just, if you know that going in, and just kind of live in that suck and embrace that suck, like, this sucks, but I'm going to be a stronger and better person on the other side. So I would say just know that it's going to suck for a while, know that it gets better, and don't be afraid to talk to somebody if you need help.
That's true. For me, I like you, I'm really into my faith, and for me, one of the worst insults I ever got from somebody was like, I need to tap in more spiritually within myself and my relationship with God. And it's like, it was a big insult to me, because everything within my life, I don't talk about it, I don't publicize it, but a lot of my decisions and things that I pray for, things I think about, things that help me push through pain and grief and loss and personal rejection, job rejection, stuff like that, just normal day life stuff, work harder. I've always had God to help me push forward and push through. And I just thought it was an insult, because everything I've ever overcome in my life, I've always had God by my side. That's never not been the case for me. It's not going to be the case going forward too, and honestly, when it comes to grief, I handle it a little differently than others. I'll be honest with you, going to wakes and funerals are not easy for me.
Sure.
Not. It's not for anybody, but honestly, like, it's got to me some points where I can't, like, honestly go to a funeral or wake. It's just that setting is just really uncomfortable and numb to a point for me at times. But I say, and our condolences go out to your buddies.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Mike, all I can say is that pushing through, or remind yourself to take things one day at a time, because that's what you're guaranteed at the end of the day. I don't think there's a set booklet on how to grieve. It's your journey, and you're going to heal your own way. But what if you have the faith within yourself and the man upstairs? There's no way you can't heal. So that's what I'll say to you, my man.
I love it. Yeah, hope you're feeling better, man. Sorry that happened to you, buddy. And thanks again for being a great supporter of the show, Mike. We appreciate you, brother. Got to meet him in New Orleans. I still feel bad because I felt like I wasn't my normal self when I got to meet Mike in New Orleans. I just felt bad about that.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be another time, brother.
Yeah. He had a couple questions about this talk, by the way. What is your take on funeral etiquette? Does a funeral need to be sad and have songs like Amazing Grace? Or do you prefer to celebrate life and do upbeat songs, jokes like Highway to Hell or etc.? Like,
yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Again, it's just like everybody does it differently, and it depends on the person too. You know, I know a lot of people who, when they pass away, they wouldn't want their funeral to be a sad. I know for me, like when I pass away, I don't want my funeral to be a sad thing. I want my funeral to be a happy thing. Let's celebrate. Let's take what Derek did and let's expand upon it. So, but yeah, it depends on the person, I think, and the situation and stuff. But
I agree with you on that too. Like for me, it's for a big thing for me is listening to music.
Yeah.
To clear my head. So I definitely say I listen to a lot of music. Going to and from funerals. 2 more questions here he had here about this topic. He said, what do you think of the idea of fulfilling someone's wishes through putting liquor in someone's casket, setting the body up at a poker table, and other weird weekend at Bernie's things I've heard on the news, etc. By the way, appreciate the How I Met Your Mother reference there. What, Weekend at Barney's?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great episode. That is a great episode.
Underrated one for sure. It's a great game. I need to revamp the playbook, by the way. We need to revamp, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. I sometimes I go on Twitter and Facebook and they share memes of like how they handle certain like funerals and stuff. I'm like, hey, if that's what you want, I mean, I'm not gonna begrudge you, but it's like, come on. In some of these scenarios, I'm like, oh man, I'm not the person to begrudge. People had their decisions and whatever, but there's some nut jobs out there. All right, next question here. What is the best amusement park you have ever been on?
Oof. I mean, probably Disney World. I'm not a huge amusement park guy, but I didn't actually have fun at Universal Studios, so sorry about that. All the rides, I did not do well on the rides. We discovered that Brother Carter has really bad motion sickness.
Brother Carter, you're not alone.
Yeah, it's Universal. Simpsons Land was cool. Simpsons Land was cool. That was fun. But I love Disney World, actually. I had a ton, both times I've been, I had a ton of fun. And they do the experience really, really well. So probably Disney World, I would say. It was awesome.
Right.
I'd go back every year if I could.
Me and roller coasters and stuff like that is not a fun experience for me. I went on a Superman flight one time in Gurney, which is a suburb of Chicago. I think I had to be like 14 or 15 or something like that. Went on a Superman ride, and oh my god, man, it was just the after effects of that experience was almost, I wouldn't say it's fully as embarrassing as my incident in Lake Erie in Cleveland, as I shared this story on the podcast before, but it got close. So me and roller coasters are a no shot.
Yeah, no shot. I only go if my fiance wants to go, or eventually if for the children, if they want to go, then I'll do it. But by and large, Brother Carter and coasters, no.
No.
If it's outdoors, I take that back. If it's outdoors, it's not that bad because with the air, like with fresh air and stuff, it's not that bad. But indoors.
All right, let's get to the next question. I think you like this one, Brother Carter. Who wins the NFC East after this weekend? The Eagles, Cowboys, or neither? This could be tricky.
I got the Eagles, man. I think that they are a complete team. They're the only undefeated team left in the league. But Did we really think at the beginning of this season that the Eagles and Cowboys would want to be the games we'd be looking forward to the most? I can't wait for this game. It's going to tell us a lot about the state of the NFC after this, but I've got the Eagles. I mean, listen, Micah Parsons is a stud. Yeah. Micah Parsons might be the best defensive player in the NFL. He's the sole reason that I've got the Dallas defense in many of my leagues, but I don't know, man. Jalen Hurts is firing on all cylinders right now, so I've got the Eagles.
I'll tell you this, Brett Carter, man. The only bad thing about this game is that it's not Sunday Night Football. I was being honest with you guys. I can't make it through a Sunday night broadcast. I fall asleep every single time. I know last week was Ravens and Bengals. I was intrigued by the matchup, but it's like it's more of the commentary that just bores me to fucking death, man. I like Mike Tirico. He's a tremendous play-by-play guy. I'm a big Mike Tirico fan, but Chris Collinsworth, my man, it's time for you to go home and stay home. It really is.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go with the Cowboys just for the misery of Stephen A. Smith. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's great. I bet. Listen, that's another reason why we got to hope for the Eagles, because whenever Stephen A. gets the Cowboys and they lose, it's some of the best television out there, especially with Michael Irvin now on First Take. It's hilarious. So we'll see.
Who needs to make like one of my favorite Jericho things of all time and shut the hell up? Mercedes for non-overrated or Naomi?
Ooh. Okay, say that question one more time to make sure I understand.
Yeah, he said, who needs to, I think he's paraphrasing here, but he's like, who needs to shut the hell up more? Mercedes Varno overrated or Naomi?
Well,
it's hard for me. I can't even say Mercedes. I don't know Mercedes. Every time I've had this conversation about Sasha Banks, it's more about her character and her annoying ass fans. I don't have a personal issue with her.
That's my whole thing with it, Josh, is I don't think it's fair. And as much as we rag Sasha Banks, I think a lot of that is not her fault. It's her annoying ass fans. They're like Cowboys fans, like oh my God, every year it's the greatest thing ever whenever Sasha Banks does anything of relevance. And listen, Josh, we've talked about this before. I actually like Sasha Banks. I think she's very talented. I think she's good in the mic. Now, is she upper echelon level? No. Is she top 5 in the world? No. But I think she's good, and I think she offers a lot to the company. And I think a lot of it is her just having some of the most annoying fans in the world, I think, is the problem. So by default, I'll say Sasha just because she's a little more vocal, but I don't think that's really a fair question or fair comparison.
Yeah. Mike, I'll tell you who really needs to shut the hell up. It's Brian Alvarez. That is really who needs to shut the hell up.
Correct.
Correct. Next question. Do you ever think there's a lost generation of music from rock music from like 2005 through 2015? Will bands like Seether or Breaking Benjamin ever qualify as classic rock? That's a great question. Is there like a certain era of music that's just kind of lost in the shuffle and not praised as it should? I mean, don't get me wrong. I grew up that whole 2005, 2015 period, Brother Carter. That's all of my stuff through elementary, high school, and my broadcasting school, that whole time period there. Alter Bridge, Avenged Sevenfold, Linkin Park, a whole bunch of bands. Even some Nickelback here and there. I know that's blasphemous to say because I know Nickelback's a band everybody likes to rip and stuff, but like I would hope not. Do I consider Breaking Benjamin or Seether as classic rock? No, because they're more of a alternative thing. I mean, it's kind of the same thing like Rise Against, which is another band. It's kind of similar to those bands too. Good bands. I just don't know if they classify in the classic rock territory, but I get what you're saying because from a music standpoint, there's certain artists and bands and genres of music that kind of been tosses the wayside. Like you don't hear about the Foo Fighters and Queens of Stone Age or bands like that as you would Nirvana and everybody else for the 90s or Biggie and Tupac. The conversations from the last 15 or 20 years, like Maroon 5 and stuff like that, they're not even close to comparison as discussed or fawned upon like the bands in the 90s and 80s. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think part of it too is the area you grew up in. I mean, like I grew up, I'm a little more seasoned. So I was really starting to get into music in the late 90s. And I would say like early 2000s is when I started to fall off, and but there's some good stuff in the early 2000s getting into the late 2000s. So I'd probably say the 2000s, but again, I like from your generation, Josh, or from a generation just below us, they probably think, 2000s was awesome and 90s was, it was fine. So I would say the 2000s, but again, that's just kind of the era I grew up in. So
yeah,
I think that's going to be a question that's different for everybody just because of when they grew up.
Right. Next question here from Mike here. We're going to go through these really quick.
Yep.
So what song have you heard what song have you heard on a mix or classic rock station that has made you feel old suddenly or most old? For me, it's Evanescence Bring Me to Life on Sunny 99.
Yep. I don't listen to a lot of the classic rock stuff, but I mean, yeah, when I start to hear stuff from like the 90s and 2000s is now classic, I'm like, oh God.
Woo. Me probably like She Will Be Loved by Maroon 5. I got that on the radio a couple weeks ago.
Will be loved. Yeah.
Poor Adam Levine. Guy's trying to appreciate good waterfall. And his stuff's being screenshotted and everybody wants to cancel him now. What a shame. Like was it Helena from My Chemical Romance? I think that one came out like 03 or 04. I was a young kid at that time.
Very good. It was very good.
Next question here. He says, what 90s TV show are you streaming now above all others? Family Matters, Home Improvement, Fresh Prince, baby? That's a good question. I think for me, it's either Fresh Prince or Martin, because those are the shows that I watched a lot when I was a kid. As I say all the time, I was exposed to a lot of shows I probably should have been watching. Probably is the reason for my sense of humor at times.
For me, it's Seinfeld. I grew up on Seinfeld. I think it's now. There's a lot of things that Seinfeld did where I'm like, today we're like, oh God, no, nope. But no, for me it was Seinfeld. I think Seinfeld is just hilarious. It was my favorite TV show growing up. That and The Simpsons, but definitely I was a Seinfeld guy for sure.
Right. I'll be honest with you. I think I had to blame my last trip to Oviedo for this reason, but when I was at the hotel, I watched Friends every night before I went to sleep. And I didn't really watch Friends a lot when it was going on as a kid. But it was really that trip. And I was in Florida for 2 weeks. You remember that, Bert Carr? We were recording.
I remember, yeah.
When I was in Florida, I watched Friends every night before I went to sleep at the hotel. And it's been kind of my routine since I came back. So I really get on the big Friends kick. So that's another one shows I could mention for the 90s.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. My fiance is big into, she likes Friends. And so I've seen a couple episodes and it is funny. I'm starting to understand the why people like it. So that's cool.
Jennifer Aniston, very nice. All right, let's go to the next question here. He says, what is something that you own that this Generation Z or whatever it is called would never understand? That's a good question.
Oh boy. What is it? Something I own?
Yeah. I got something. I'll be right back.
Okay. While Josh is going to get that item, I'm just kind of looking around my place and seeing what I've got here. I mean, video game systems, maybe I got a Wii U and I got a PS4, maybe. I don't know. Gosh, most of the old stuff I have, I kind of got rid of or is somewhere in a box. But yeah, maybe that. I don't know. I'm sure I got some stuff in my boxes somewhere, my old storage stuff. I don't know.
This is bad for the audio people, but that's why you should subscribe to Hoots Podcast so you get the video version.
There you go.
By the way, video trumps audio, right?
Video is the video, because video includes both audio and a visual component to it. So yes, video trumps audio. It always has.
I have with me a old school WWF magazine from June 1994 here.
Wow, look at that.
My dad actually introduced me to wrestling when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a month after I was born. So this is June of 1994. There's an exclusive article here that was written by Vince Russo.
I was about to ask if Russo was going to be in there.
Hold up. Let's see if I can get the credits here. Hold up. Do one screen here.
I'm zooming in here. It's a little blurry. Up. There it is. Yeah, editor Vincent Russo. Wow. Holy cow.
Pretty cool, huh?
Wow. That's not bad.
Yep. And in this magazine, they did a dedication to Vince McMahon Sr. Check this out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Oh man, so yeah, it's pretty cool. That's my prized possession there for magazines, if you will.
I love it.
Let's see what the next question here is from Mike. He says, "What was the worst televised debacle? The Colts, Broncos, Thursday Night Football game, or DX against the Brothers of Destruction at Crown Jewel?" That's the Colts and Broncos.
I was about to say, did you watch that game?
Yeah.
The people were leaving before the game was over. Before it went to, there was, Josh, I think there were 0 touchdowns scored in that entire game.
Yes, Mike, I understand that match was not good and it did not need to happen, but that football game was bowling shoe ugly.
Yes.
Next question. What's your go-to song to get up on your worst day of the week? Which is still more motivating than Get Up on ESPN. God, that show sucks. That's a great question, man. Honestly, Brother Carr, I think you may know this. It's the last song that was played on How I Met Your Mother when Ted put the blue French horn.
Blue French horn, yeah.
It's called Heaven by the Walkmen. It's a very good song. I've used it as an intro in the podcast before, but it's a good song. If you haven't checked it out, it's really good.
Okay.
What about you? What about songs that get you pumped up?
Songs that get me pumped up. Wow. Let's see. Definitely. Oh gosh, songs that get me pumped up. This is gonna sound weird, but like, whenever I hear college fight songs, I get very excited because I'm excited about what's going to happen with a college football game. So that really gets me going. You ready for this? That gets me fired up. I like that song. Oh gosh. Songs that get me fired up, pumped up. I'm going to have to think about this because that's some good ones. But for me, it's like when I hear college fight songs, like the team's running out, I'm like, yeah, here we go. So, because I love college sports. And so I'd go with that. Or the Get Ready for This is cool.
The Bulls intro song from the 90s is always fun to pull up for the Michael Jordan introduction. If you guys never seen those old school Chicago Bulls intros from the 90s, they're absolutely insane. You like this one. Who's the worst AEW acquisition from WWE and why?
Who is the worst AEW acquisition? Oh.
There's a lot to pick from.
Wow. I'm gonna say Jericho.
Yeah.
Does Jericho count? It's got to be Jericho, right?
Not even close.
It's got to be Jericho, and he was their first signing too. So
it's either him or the running lip man.
Ooh, yeah, the running limp man. Yes.
All right. Last question for Mike here. He says, if you're Dallas, Dak Prescott is healthy on Sunday night, do you think Do you start him or sit him because Cooper Rush is on a winning streak? Also, do you miss Al Michaels doing play-by-play as opposed to generic Jones?
Two things I'll say to this. Number one, don't start Dak yet. I think you need to make sure he's fully ready to go. And here's the thing. If it's working with Cooper Rush, don't fix it.
Yes.
Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know? Until he loses or starts to get on a losing streak, like, fine. Like, I get Dak is your dude and you're paying him like he's the franchise quarterback. I get that.
Yeah.
But one, don't mess with a good thing. And two, don't start him early because see Exhibit A, Tua Tagovailoa. Look what happened when they put him back in the game and he shouldn't have been back in the game. So I would say, no, don't start him at all. Wait till he's ready to go. What was the other part of that question?
Do you miss Al Michaels doing Sunday Night Football?
Yeah. I mean, he's fine. I wish it was Al Michaels and Mike Tirico so Collinsworth could go home and stay home. But it's fine, I think.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with both of your segments there. No reason to rush him out there before he gets the hammer done and he's done for the season. All right, our last set of questions this week. Thank you, Mike. As always, our last batch of questions here comes from Nate the Great at Psycho Nagiri. He says here, is Triple H bringing too many people back? I'm gonna tackle this because we're not gonna talk about this in the WWE segment, and I know this has been a talking point on Twitter recently. Here's the deal: I think people need to pick a lane because before Triple H took over, the running sentiment is that we're seeing the same people, the same shows, having the same matches every single week. We gotta pick a lane here. Either it's we're seeing the same matches over time and complain that there's no depth on the roster, and then when we're seeing people come back in the volume that they're coming back, oh, it's too much. Like, we gotta pick a lane here. Two things could be true. I could get that at the same time, but I'm also not a person that subscribes to the philosophy that I need to have my cake and eat it too. Right. I don't carry myself that way. I think it's a lazy way to view things, to be honest with you. I'd rather be upfront with how I feel than be like, okay, I'm going to say this, but I'm also going to say that at the same time as well. I just don't believe in that. So for me, we need to pick a lane. Are they bringing too many people back? Well, you're probably the same person that's complaining, but why are we seeing the same people on TV all the time? What do you think, bro?
Do I think he's bringing too many people back? No, I don't. I think Triple H is he's running the company. He thinks it's the way it should be run. You know, he's bringing back the people he thinks bring value. And clearly it's been working because the fans are getting it behind him too. You know, you think about, I think the first major one was Karrion Kross. And then he would have been the first big one, right?
Yeah.
Was Karrion Kross? Yeah. And then like people but then you get small folks and a lot of these folks were people that were being groomed in NXT to be the big stars in the show. People like Hit Row, who I love Hit Row. I think like they were underutilized on the main roster. Cross, of course. Johnny Gargano, that one's been waiting to go for a long time. Bray Wyatt, who I think is, and we'll get into this when we get into Extreme Rules, but I have a hot take about Bray Wyatt, which I'm going to want to get your thoughts on too. So I say no. Again, he's getting the roster the way he wants it. I think this is also, and Josh, you and I have talked about this a lot before too. When people get fired and people get let go, it's like you're in the entertainment industry. Like nothing is for certain unless you're in charge, right? So like I think of people who we have not seen on television for a while. I think of people like Tozawa, Dana Brooke, R-Truth, you know, this whole 24/7 championship scramble thing. Dewdrop, who we haven't seen in a while. Nikki Cross, you know, for the new folks that are coming in, these folks that Vince McMahon really liked are getting pushed. Nakamura, and I hate to say that, but because I love Shinsuke Nakamura, but he's been pushed to the side because that's not who Triple H values right now. So it's, if we're going to be consistent in how we feel, this is entertainment. And in entertainment, you don't always get what you want.
and not everybody is entitled to pushes.
Yes, correct.
That's what it is. Let's go to the next question here. He says, "What was your very first job?" My first job was a tattoo shop.
Mine was I worked. What did I do? I worked in a warehouse one summer. That was one. I also worked for Sports Authority when that was a thing. Doing retail for a summer. It was awful. I never wanted to do it again. But yeah, I worked at a car wash too. That was one that.
Oh, really?
That was terrible. Yeah, I worked at a car wash. It was terrible. We learned very quick that those jobs were not for me. So there you go.
Have you ever watched, unrelated to car washing, but have you ever watched Tommy Boy?
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to. Dan Aykroyd does a good Chicago accent. I don't know, like when me and you talk, I don't know if you can ever tell or notice my Chicago accent or not, but
not really.
But like he goes over the board like Callahan Auto Parts.
Oh yeah.
I'd like car parts. And get yourself a Chicago deep beach pizza. One of my favorite scenes from the movie though is like Dave Spade, they're at the hotel. Chris Farley's trying to take a nap. He's like, housekeeping.
Yes. Oh yes.
Trying to sleep.
Giving you a pillow. Yes.
A pillow? Shut up.
Yes, that is very good.
Oh God, what a tremendous movie. All right, let's get to the next question here. Structurally and spacing the matches apart over 3.5 months and what feels like 2 months. Which trilogy did you like more? Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins or Bryan versus Chris Jericho? Well, Nate, I'll tell you this. Jericho and Danielson, and I'm going to say this later, has been feel like a year compared to this rivalry of Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I'm going with Cody and Seth. First off, the rivalry had a true rivalry sense to it and had a purpose to it. Not this feud with Jericho and Danielson, where Jericho has a fucking identity crisis. So he doesn't know who he wants to be in 1 week after another. And then you have this rivalry with Jericho and Danielson. And what's the prize? A generic Daniel Garcia who has more charisma than a fucking house guest at a retirement home? Like, come on.
Well, and now apparently they're going to elevate Garcia even more, and we'll get to that when we get in AEW this week. Well, Josh, I said this on the podcast after this happened. I said Seth and Cody had the match of the year at WrestleMania Payback. That was unbelievable. So I think to this still day, this holds up as might be the match of the year for me. So it's Seth and Cody, and it's not close. So yeah, Seth and Cody.
How about this question? Does Chris Jericho add anything to the product? Does his name mean anything anymore?
No shot. In fact, if anything, he makes it far, 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 far worse. He's the worst part about AEW every single week. And he was one of my favorites growing up. But no shot.
Yeah, stay tuned to what the hell is wrong with AEW, Nate. I'll give you my answer there. All right, last question for the Q&A. How are you?
I'm good. Nice question. Life is good. Feeling a lot better. Glad to be here talking some wrestling. And no, I'm doing a lot better. Life is good.
Yeah, man, life is good on my end too, really. No complaints. The grind's been real. Like I said, I did like 8 shows this past weekend, which was nuts. Like Saturday was a freaking blur for me. And then Battle of the Belts, trash. Rampage, trash. A lot of wrestling, but it was good to be busy. And I'm kind of excited that I get to enjoy the football games on Sunday with Red Zone with no interference.
Red Zone's awesome.
Where I don't have to go back and forth with the Bears game since they're playing right now. Like, I get to enjoy Red Zone this week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But overall, I'm doing good, man. I'm really happy. I'm honestly excited and happy with the work I'm pumping out. Things are going good here at the apartment. Things have kind of slowed down as far as like when I want to make my move and stuff to Florida. But outside of that, like, went on a couple of dates here and there. I had to pull I'm not a SIP card on a chick a couple weeks ago. left it at that. But outside that, like honestly, my priorities are in a good place. Right now, I'm not in the mood for a serious relationship. I'm not in the mood of just wasting my time with females just for the sake of just being with a female. And right now, my focus right now is on my career and just being happy and appreciating what I have here in this apartment. So I'm
awesome.
good, man.
Good for you, brother. I like it. I like it.
All right, I want to thank Nate, Mike, Chris, Sam, Pat. A buffet of questions this weekend. We appreciate you guys. This is a big part of our podcast, and we do appreciate the support. And you guys killed it this week, all of you.
Yeah, great stuff, everybody. Thanks so much. And again, don't forget to submit your questions every week for the Back Porch Q&A session. We'd love to hear from you.
As always, you can do that at the Hoots Podcast or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. All right, Brother Carter. I decided to get into what the title of this episode is, our Extreme Rules review.
No!
We're going to start with Extreme Rules and then wrap it up with our thoughts on Raw and SmackDown this week as we talk about this week in WWE. We both got to watch pay this past Saturday night in Philly. # Philly is trash. I'll give credit where credit's due. The crowd was really, really good this past Saturday night.
Yeah, they were awesome.
But really quick as we get started on this, because I know we want to get into the Bray Wyatt stuff. Just overall for you, what was your thoughts on the pay-per-view on Saturday?
I thought this was an outstanding show from top to bottom. Every match was fantastic in every way. I mean, I have a couple small little criticisms about a couple of the matches, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. But I thought every match had something to bring. It was fun. It advanced storylines. I thought that everything, by and large, top to bottom, Josh, just generically, I thought this was an outstanding, excellent pay-per-view and some really, really good stuff from top to bottom. And we'll break things down here in a second. But overall, I thought it was a tremendous, tremendous show, top to bottom. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was like a pretty solid show from top to bottom. I think for me, like I've been consistent with this, that the premium live events are just a fun show to enjoy and transcribe. Like it's very rare that you have a bad premium live event. I could do less without Corey Graves, but that's neither here or there. But overall, I thought it was a good show.
Yeah. Okay, let's just talk about each of the matches real quick, and then we'll get into the closing show. So we started with the Donnybrook match. I thought this was so much fun. Like this was just 6 guys beating the hell out of each other, and it was awesome. I thought it went a little long. I think they probably could have cut about 5 minutes off of it. It was starting to get a bit of a lull at times. But overall, I thought this was it was just fun, man. It was just no like catch can wrestling. This was just 6 guys beating the crap out of each other, and it was fun. So what did you think?
I love this match, man. These two factions could fight each other anytime they want for as long as they want. They could. It's a big meaty man bumping meat match and slapping me as the Sheamus doing the Celtic cross through the announce table. I thought it was tremendous, and the crowd played a big part in this match too. And I'm so happy for Sheamus and the crowd reactions he's been getting recently, and it's nice to see the guys getting this well overdue flowers. So I thought it was a good business there.
Awesome. Yep, absolutely.
And Gunther didn't take the pin, so it doesn't hurt him at all.
Right. No, that's good. I like that too. I thought good stuff from Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. It was kind of a bit of a lull at times, I think, in the match where the pace was just a little slow and they couldn't quite figure out what to do. But overall, I thought this was good. I thought it was cool that Liv Morgan tapped out by having her head like literally driven into the side of a table is what caused her to tap out. And she was smiling at the end, which kind of leads me to think about what might be coming later. So I thought this was a good match too, but there were some lull moments at times for sure. What did you think?
I just think the girls were put in a bad position following how hot the opening match was.
That's a good point, yeah.
I was trying to simmer themselves down a little bit. But for me, my indifference towards this match was over the fact that I just didn't think the baseball bat shots that they're doing were really anything I could suspend my disbelief to. Sure. And I wasn't upset with the decision or anything like that. It's just the submission you're talking about, Ronda Rousey did like a grounding octopus. I just thought the finish fell flat because just how it was being shot and how it got into that position. If he got the rubbish out of the way, maybe it could have gone that way. But plus, when you're having a hardcore match and it ends via submission, it's kind of a little different feel, if you will, especially for a gimmick match.
Right. Josh, I don't know about you, but Scarlett is worth every penny that WWE is paying her. My God, she is unbelievable. This was one of my favorite matches of the night. I've never been shy about how much I love Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I think this was awesome. I wrote down here, I'm pretty sure I'd sell my soul to Scarlett. Her screaming while more, while Kross was whipping him with the strap was perfect. Scarlett is worth every penny. She enhances the product so much. I thought this was great. Karrion Kross wins and looks like a badass doing it. Tick freaking tock. I loved this.
Maximize your time, man. And like we said last week, I had no doubts this was going to be a fun match. And Drew McIntyre's the man. Right guy won, and I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, that was great. Once again, Josh, the EST makes history, becoming the first ever winner of a women's ladder match for a championship. I thought this was awesome. The ladies freaking killed it in this. This was awesome. Bianca and Bayley, we know how great they are. I thought this was just tremendous from top to bottom. I don't know what else to say, but this was just tremendous.
Correct. I thought it was a good physical match, and I thought Bayley looked good in this match too. I think I've heard Alvarez over the last couple weeks say that Bayley hasn't looked that great in the ring since she came back, and I totally disagree with that. I think she's more rounded and add more variety to what she does in the ring, and I think she's been looking good so far.
I think so too.
I know they had the run-ins and stuff with damage control, but overall, I thought Bianca, she's just on another level, man. She's as from a start performing point of view and just an overall performance quality, she brings more to the table than Sasha. She's just as athletic as Charlotte. She's just phenomenal. I can't give her enough flowers. So I was not surprised that she retained.
She's earned every bit of the accolades that she's been given. She is tremendous. She is tremendous. Okay, we get to the I Quit match. Of course, we knew Judgment Day was going to get the win here. No real surprises. I think I love the ending of this where you make Edge quit because of Beth Phoenix, and Rhea Ripley says, "You taught us too well," and gives her the concerto anyway. I thought that was awesome. I thought this was a great match, top to bottom. Dominic's getting some amazing heat. I love this. I thought this was great. Finn Balor's new music and his mask is awesome. It was really cool. So I thought this was great.
This was one of my favorite matches of the year so far from a storytelling point of view. Yeah, I can understand for people if they thought the match was a little bit too long or whatever, but I love the spot with Edge doing the hockey stick crossface on the kickoff set. I thought that was pretty cool. Them fighting in the crowd, Edge doing that, trying to do a spear on a guardrail. Those guardrails are not easy to run into. I bumped into those. Those are not fun. And, this guy's had a lot of shoulder injuries and anything like that. When you're brawling in the crowd in those kind of nifty areas, anything bad could seriously happen to you. So they got that out of the way. Honestly, listen to the crowd the last 10 or 12 minutes of that match, especially how awesome Dominic was in that match. He's putting the boots to his father and stuff. Michael Cole's call of this match was absolutely phenomenal. Probably one of the best calls of his career so far. "What's wrong with you, kid? That's your father." You son of a bitch.
That was almost like, I was thinking like JR vibes,
Yeah.
like the way JR would get after Triple H. So,
and then you feel it at home too. Like they get poor Bev in the position for the concerto. Like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. She's a mother. She don't deserve it. Don't do it.
And Rhea does it anyway. That was awesome.
It was tremendous.
It was awesome. Okay, and now we get to the main event. Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. First off, let me say, I love the concept of the fight pit. I think that's a cool concept. I think they need to bring that back because that was really cool. Great action overall. I definitely think the finish fell flat. Honestly, though, it just kind of appeared out of nowhere without a lot of build to it. rumors are, I read rumors, and again, don't know, that Cormier forgot the finish and that's why, he forgot what it was supposed to happen. So I thought the ending of this was just kind of like, oh, okay, yay, Riddle wins. Okay, cool, yay. So I thought the action in this was fine, but I don't know, maybe it just didn't have that overall physicality that I figured a feud of this like how personal this feud got should have had, I guess. So, but that's just me. But overall, I thought the action was fine. I think Seth Rollins paying homage to RVD in Philadelphia was cool. I thought that was really neat. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought about that. What did you think?
I enjoyed the physicality. I think what hurt Seth and Riddle is not the finish. It was just, I think people were so feverishly trying to figure out what was going to go down with this white rabbit thing. So I think your attention was them waiting to see what the reveal was, because they didn't do it until the end of the show. They even did the whole NXT bit where after the match show they had the watermark logo and stuff like that, and then they got to the reveal. So it's like either they figured like it was just a bit just to get the people watching it Raw, so they weren't sure if he was going to show up or not. So I think it affected that, but I thought the physicality was cool. I got kind of nervous when they were up on the platform and Ross was about to do that buckle bomb towards the side of the cage. I was like, oh, no. That would have been good if Riddle fell off of that. But the Broton off the platform was nasty. I just think the finish was hitter for them because the people waiting for Bray Wyatt. So I appreciate the physicality, and I thought DC did a serviceable job for what he did in it.
Yep. Okay, Josh, let's get to it. Let's get to what everybody's talking about, of course, and that's the return of Bray Wyatt. They do the lights start to go out. As soon as the lights start to go out, the crowd knows what's happening. And the crowd was electric for the entire 3 or 4 minutes that this whole presentation was happening. We get the characters in the crowd, the mask on the table, which I thought was kind of weird, honestly. I thought the part of it was kind of weird, but all the characters in the crowd was awesome. The Fiend was there. Door comes open. There's Bray Wyatt. He takes off the mask. It's Bray Wyatt saying, "I'm here." The lantern goes out to close the show. Josh, Bray Wyatt has been one of my favorite characters in the last 10 years. Vince McMahon had The Undertaker. Triple H has Bray Wyatt. I think it's that level of what he's got on his hands and his connection with the crowd, pun intended, the whole world in his hands. What Bray Wyatt has managed to do has been remarkable. I will never understand why Vince McMahon fired Bray Wyatt in 2021. I will never, ever understand why that happened, with how over that character was and his connection and how creative that was. Maybe it was COVID and the pandemic kind of stifled some of the momentum. But to me, Josh, this was one of the greatest returns of all time. I think Bray Wyatt coming home is going to be something that's going to live in wrestling history. And I think Triple H has found his Undertaker in Bray Wyatt. And I am elated that he is back. He is one of two people that can take the title off of Roman Reigns. It's either going to be him or Cody. And I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Bray Wyatt being the one that takes the title off of Roman Reigns. And that's, yeah. And then you can have him and Cody at WrestleMania. But I'm elated, man. So happy.
Yeah, I thought it was a very, very cool moment. I think for me, just the level of production and thought and detail that went into everything that got towards him coming out, I just thought it was awesome. Nobody does production like the WWE. It's not close. Just seeing him, how that went off the air and like the
yes.
I thought that was great. Even funny when they showed a little like they had a lot of specific details. That burn up mask that was on the announce table was the same one that he got burned up in the match that I saw at the COVID Mania when Alexa Bliss burned him up. That was the burnt mask there. So
that's cool.
I thought that was interesting. The puppets are out there. They have the head on the announce table that made Corey Grace and Michael run away. I think they said that Bray's going to be on SmackDown, so that's going to be a nice attraction and stuff like that. I just think it'd be cool to take it slow with him and see where things go with him for now. But him being in WWE is a good thing. That's his element. That's the best way to showcase a character like that. And just glad that he's not the fourth member of House of Black.
Oh God, I'm. Could you imagine if he signed with AEW? How awful that would be. Oh God, but no, I'm so happy, man. Yeah, this was great. Anything else about Extreme Rules?
No, again, like we said earlier, that was a pretty solid pay-per-view from top to bottom, and I was kind of curious to see how this pay-per-view was going to go out because this was the first premium live event run by Triple H that was not in a stadium.
Right.
So I was curious to see how the fickle arena universe was going to treat this pay-per-view. So some nice pleasant surprises for sure. But really quick, as we wrap up this segment, we're going to talk really quick about what happened on Raw this past Monday in Brooklyn. Lots of returns. We have a new United States champion in Seth Rollins, thanks to the help of a returning Brock Lesnar, which I didn't think him beating up Lashley made Lashley look bad. I think how that whole scenario played out, bro. I want to get your thoughts on this. I think it kind of protected Lashley in a way, especially if he was going to lose that title anyway. So, what's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy whenever Brock Lesnar comes back. He's been one of my favorites too, and we've talked about how great Brock Lesnar is. Face cowboy Brock Lesnar may even be more intimidating than heel badass Brock Lesnar. I thought this was great. I was very unexpected. I had no idea Lesnar was going to come out. So and that's what I love is when you don't expect the surprises. So yeah, I think it's great. It can set up a match between the two of them at Crown Jewel if they want to run it there, or if they want to wait till I think they kind of have to do it at Crown Jewel just because of the attraction that Brock Lesnar is. But so you can run a match between the two of them there and it'll be fine. But no, I thought this was great and very unexpected. So it was great. And it protected Lashley. You're right.
Well, what else stood out for you for Raw this week?
Well, we've touched on Gallows and Anderson. And so and we'll just see what happens with that. Maybe this is me, Josh, but I'm kind of ready for a payoff with this Dexter Lumis and Miz thing. You know, it's they've been doing this for about 2 months now.
We do have the match next week, though.
That's true. So hopefully that will be the payoff of this. So for that, and of course, I think the DX stuff was, and a lot of people are complaining at the end of the show, oh, it was just DX doing their shtick. Yeah, it's the 25th anniversary of DX. That's what they should have done. Go out and do their shtick.
You want to be out there and embarrass another young talent like that usually happens on these type of shows, like,
or get attacked by Bray Wyatt. Like, how does that help?
Oh God,
no, that's just ridiculous. The stuff at the beginning was hilarious when he was like, "Penis, can I say penis?" And then they did all the bleeps and like, I thought it was great. I thought that they were just hilarious throughout the night. That was fun. But yeah, man, like that's exactly how it should have gone off the air. It's just DX doing their thing. Everyone goes home happy. Fine.
Right.
Oh, the other thing I want to say about this, Josh, I know we rag on Corey Graves, but he had the line of the week by far when they did, you know, they pointed the crowd, badass Billy Gunn, and someone says, what Billy Gunn's doing now? I think he's doing something with office furniture right now. Or office supplies right now. That was great. Props to Corey Graves for that line. That was hilarious. Yeah, so I thought that all that stuff was great.
I really enjoyed the DX stuff too. I think Road Dogg was like D-geriatric.
D-geriatric or something. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. And then HBK is like, you gotta promise me if we're here for the next 25, you gotta put us out of our misery. I thought that was great. Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory thought it was a good match. Same thing with Rey Mysterio and Chad Gable. I'll tell you right now, Brett Carter, I'm a mark for the Judgment Day. That's why I'm kind of rocking the colors today.
I like it
because Judgment Day, they deserve their flowers. That's a hell of a group there. Definitely more effective right now than the Blackpool Cuckold Club.
We'll get to that here in just a second.
Yes.
No, I agree with you. I love Judgment Day too. I think they're tremendous. So,
then, we can't forget the Tribal Chief was on Raw this past Monday too, and Sami Zayn giving the brotherly talk to Jey Uso. Burger, he's not being Usi enough.
Oh, that was great. Josh, what can you say about Sami Zayn? He is on another level right now. Like he is absolutely killing it in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he puts over Jimmy, Soul, even got a pop too. I thought that was great.
No, that was awesome. That was good. Hey, Josh, we get to see Elias next week.
Yeah, that's true.
Very good. Very excited about to see the return of Elias.
Some good musical instruments.
Is Kevin Owens hurt right now?
I don't know what's up with him. I thought there was something going on with him in Theory and Gargano. I'm not really sure what's up with him. Maybe it might come. Maybe it's like the after effect of not being on the Extreme Rules card. I'm not really sure.
Maybe he'll come out after the. Maybe they'll do one final thing with the Kevin Owens and Elias to put the whole Ezekiel thing to bed. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe they're a tag team or something. Think about this: Johnny Gargano, Owens, and Elias against the Alpha Academy in Theory in a 6-man tag, something like that.
That would be fine. That would be just fine. Good. I think good stuff from both Extreme Rules and Raw this week. Really looking forward to SmackDown tomorrow night and seeing what they do with Bray Wyatt.
By the way, also shout out to NXT this week. Some really good matches. Axiom and Nathan Frazier, number 3 was awesome. Ilya Dragunov had the main event with Grayson Waller. Very, very good match there. And nice to see Sonya Deville there with Toxic Attraction.
Yes.
I saw that on the show as well. And if there's a match you guys want to go check out the Triple Threat Tag from NXT this week, which was very, very good. So that's really some NXT thoughts there. So go ahead, Carter.
Well, do you have anything you want to say about Bound for? Oh, we talked about Bound for Glory already, or anything? Okay, great. Well, then I think it's time.
Yes.
Is it time, Josh?
Yes,
it is time for the segment we look forward to every week. The segment you look forward to every week. The flagship segment of the Hoots podcast and the best segment in all of wrestling podcasting. It is What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? And we're going to get this bad boy started in a 3, a 2, a 1.
Beat your meat, 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 beat your meat. I'm telling you, my time is right now. Right this minute, 2022. We're living it. My time is now. My time is right. God damn now. Man, what intensity.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
What a discovery.
Yeah. Josh, it is that magical time of week where we ask a very simple question. What the hell is wrong with AEW, a.k.a. what isn't wrong with AEW? And Josh, last week was certainly a step up from the week before, and we thought maybe we're going to get some momentum going. And then Dynamite proves to be Dynamite and puts on another disaster of a television program. So let's get into it. As per the usual on What the Hell is Wrong with AEW, we talk about the things we did enjoy, and there's a few things that I did enjoy, and I want to go over that real quick. Honestly, Josh, great to see Renee Paquette back doing something in pro wrestling. Is it a useless signing for AEW? Yes. But maybe it'll give their commentary team some sort of a boost so we don't have to look at Officer Bar Brady every time during a backstage interview segment. So, and hey, listen, Josh, we say this, we're always happy when wrestlers and wrestling personalities have jobs and are getting paid. And, she's going to get paid really well, get to spend time with her husband. So great to see Renee Paquette back. That was great. Also, Christian, when they had their interview, he wasn't wrong about the Maple Leafs. I thought that was a good one.
That was the best part of Dynamite. That rip there.
That was great. Though they're saying the Maple Leafs might actually come out of their division this year, so we will see. I know you didn't really care about it, but I actually didn't mind the match with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. I thought this was a good match, good storytelling. I know he doesn't really do it for you, but I thought this was actually a good match. I say this last week, Josh. I love the Acclaimed, man. This was great. Their rap was awesome. The crowd was going nuts. This was great. And I will say this too. Billy Gunn looks like he's having more fun than he has in a long time. Like he's really enjoying himself. And I actually thought like he looks like to be in pretty good shape for a guy his age. I thought like, so that was good stuff. And his match with Swerve was okay. And then of course, MJF. I mean, what can we say about MJF? His promo was great. What they're doing with Stokely Hathaway, I have questions about, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But those are the things I enjoyed this week. What did you enjoy about this week, Josh?
First off, congrats to Renee. Happy for her success. Like I told you last night, I didn't know black leather couldn't look any better.
That was yowie wowie.
Yes, yowie wowie for sure. But honestly, I'm happy for her that she's on TV and doing something. She still has a great podcast, which you guys should go check out as well. But very talented woman. I just think for her, she's above AEW. I think she's above wrestling now, so that she deserves platforms and opportunities on a bigger level. But I want her to have her fun. That's something she wants to do and get it off her chest. And I think it's kind of stupid. Like, oh, I can't believe Renee turned her back on WWE. We're not gonna say that. That's stupid. But and it makes all sense in the world for her. If she wants to be there close with her husband, like who are we to say that's a bad thing? So sure. She's good. Like you said, she's a gazillion times upgrade over Officer Barbrady. And the less we can get from Tony Schiavone backstage interviews, the better.
Yes. So anything else? Go ahead. What else, Josh?
I just like to say again, you can have the show in Canada, no offense, Brother Carter, Arthur Ashe Stadium, Hoffman Estates, the United Center, anywhere else in the United States or across the world. AEW is going to AEW. Okay? Just to throw that out there.
Yes.
I actually like some aspects of the Jon Moxley Hangman Page promo that was on the show. I won't say I'm looking forward to their match because it is a Jon Moxley match after all, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's bleeding towards it. But outside of that, there's aspects of matches I enjoyed, but again, it turns my view of it because of afterbirth brawls and the same shit we see over and over and over again on AEW. Outside that, like you mentioned the Christian Cage line, love that. They claim rap, good stuff there. But I think it's time to get to the crap because I think we need to get the crap first out of the way before we get to the real root issues that we discussed.
Well, Josh, as we did this last week to work well, I'm going to turn this portion of the show over to you, my friend. You lead us in the crap that is AEW.
All right. Again, for me, Dino, Douche, and Jungle Boy did nothing for me. I'll say this. I'm glad that they're calling him Jungle Jack Perry so I can type in Perry instead of Jungle Boy every other 5 sentences. Trust me, transcribing Jungle Boy matches are kind of hard. Just saying Jungle Boy this, Jungle Boy that. Like, I rather like working with last names or whatever the gimmick name is instead of just like, mixing it together behind the fourth wall there for my transcripts. But that was fine. Luchasaurus beating Jungle Boy, like, who's ever going to take Luchasaurus as a serious contender, and why did he need that victory in the first place? That did not advance the feud. Jungle Boy's been a whoopee boy for both Christian Cage and Dino Douche since the beginning of this feud, so get this freaking feud over with. Yes. How about this? For the 5th time in 2 months, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter against Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm. A 15-minute match where VR Goggles the referee for the Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder collection. Aubrey Edwards was the referee this week for this match, and it sucked ass.
It was terrible.
This match was fucking horrible. And Aubrey Edwards did this match no favors. First off, I didn't know illegal competitors could make pinfall attempts during the match. And secondly, it's like we see the same shit every time with every Britt Baker match. She has like this Young Bucks disease where you see one Britt Baker tag match, you see all of them. Cheating, running, rebel this, choking people in the ring post. I love Britt Baker's confidence. I like the whole appeal, the look, everything in that. But God, she is fucking repetitive as shit in the ring.
Well,
I gotta call a spade, man.
Look who she associates herself with. Adam Cole and the Elite. I mean, what do you expect?
Right. Well, what I did expect is that Toni Storm would have an even more boring title run than Thunder Rosa. I didn't think that was possible. It's funny for Toni Storm to talk shit about Thunder Rosa in that media scrum at all out. And even her title reign is even more boring, vanilla, paint dry as Thunder Rosa's was.
Josh, has the women's title ever meant less in AEW?
This week, the bar can get lower. It gets lower as the weeks go by.
At least Sheeta was somewhat entertaining, when she had the title. She was barely on television, but Toni Storm has done nothing of relevance with the championship. Like, who is the challenger? If you look at the women's division, you're like, okay, who's going to challenge Toni Storm?
Not only that, you got the TBS championship being stolen by Nyla Rose.
Good.
A heel stealing something from another heel. And then you have Anna Jay. Oh my God. Another heel fighting another heel on Rampage this week for this out. Honestly, here's a good comparison, Bert Carter and Sam. You're going to get a pop out of this. AEW's women's division is handled the same way as Chicago Bears handle the quarterback position. It doesn't get better. You can't figure out whether it slaps you in the face or not on how to properly develop the division. It's fucking horrible, man.
Awful. Well, Josh, we've said before on the show, AEW, all except women. I mean, this is just, they should be embarrassed by themselves. And I'm sorry, are we really going to take Nyla Rose as a serious contender for Jade Cargill? Like, seriously?
No shot.
What else? Okay. Let's see. What else you got for me, Josh?
All right. Did the matchup of Samoa Joe and Wardlow against the Factory tickle your fancies?
Nope. Josh, I wrote down here when talking about them, I said, Wardlow and Samoa Joe have become completely irrelevant. AEW has destroyed all momentum with both of them. And this is Samoa Joe, who some people said was one of the best wrestlers in the world. And he's another person, and to give him, some partial credit to this, I think he got screwed when WWE fired him. I really do. That was a mistake. And I appreciate that they're trying to get him to work, but they've ruined him. They've ruined Wardlow. Wardlow has no moment. Josh, they've ruined FTR.
Yeah.
AEW has ruined FTR. Think about that for a second. The people who are saying. A lot of people are saying they are the greatest tag team in the world, and I actually don't have a problem with that argument. They have ruined the best tag team in the world, not just in WWE. I'm talking about the world. It's AEW has ruined them. What have they done of relevance in the last couple months?
Jack shit. And you want something to top that? The return of Shawn Spears.
Oh my! Okay, first off, once again, AEW acknowledges that they are the second promotion because they did the whole 10-10-10 thing. Right. So clearly they're acknowledging his WWE gimmick. And what did he do of any importance before he got hurt or whatever?
Absolutely nothing.
So what is this going to add to this? It's only going to bring FTR and Wardlow and Samoa Joe down even further.
Correct.
Oh my God.
Correct.
This is
how about this? MJF giving a warning to Stokely Hathaway. By the way, Stokely Hathaway, the backstage segment with Ethan Page and Matt Hardy, that was mid. Mark Sterling coming out after the Billy Gunn match. That was fucking bad TV. Brutal. JoJo Dutch.
Mark Sterling might be, again, he needs to join the Jericho Appreciation Society. He's on that level of bad. Is smart Mark Sterling.
And Tony Khan thinks it's good TV where he's like, oh, this is good heel. Here's the guy. He's going to file lawsuits and file trademarks just to take away fun things from performers on the show. Dude, Mark Sterling is not a good TV character. He doesn't deserve to be on the shows.
No. And AEW has ruined all momentum of the Acclaimed because now they can't say "scissor me daddy ass," which is like their catchphrase and what the crowd pops for. Like, are you kidding me?
How about this? Bryan Danielson against the Ocho. Number 3. By the way, this match did not main event Dynamite this week. It kicked off the second hour.
Oh, hey, can I say one thing about the segment before that real quick?
Correct.
I want to go back to the Moxley Page promo for a little bit. I agree with you. There were some nice moments in this promo, but nobody cared because MJF was watching. So literally everybody in the crowd was looking up at MJF and chanting MJF and didn't care at all about what Moxley and Page had to say. And this is supposed to be a build to your world title match next week. And people are caring more about MJF than they are about the world title. Like,
right.
Put MJF away for a while, let them cut their promo, and then show MJF. But the fact that they showed MJF through the entire promo, for me, killed this complete segment. Not because of MJF, because MJF is incredible, but it killed of what this segment was supposed to be. So, anyways, I just wanted to say that the segment before we got into the Danielson Jericho thing. So, all right, go ahead.
Bryan Danielson against Chris Jericho. Did you care?
Nope. Did you care that Daniel Garcia turned on Bryan Danielson?
No.
No,
I was starting to laugh a little bit when it happened, to be honest with you. I can't even say it's a good match because I've already seen it already. And it's I'm gonna get shit for this, but I have to be honest. We gotta say what it is. Bryan Danielson has regressed as a wrestler to the point where he's looking more like Bobby Fish than Bryan Danielson. The repetitive moves, the repetitive kick, chop combos. I get it. He loves MMA and all this shit, but holy shit, man! Like, can you mix it up once in a while? Jericho is the most overrated wrestler in wrestling today. The fact that he is the end-all be-all of AEW 3 years into the promotion's existence is a huge, huge problem. MJF, there's only so much MJF could do. I love the guy. He's awesome. He's one of the few reasons to watch this shit every week. But even then, MJF can't save this show, Brother Carter. It can't.
No.
Not only that, we still can't figure out whether we're feuding for the Ring of Honor title or Daniel Garcia's love. Who gives a fuck about Daniel Garcia?
Tony Clown does. And here's the thing, though, Josh. I've said this before. I think Garcia has potential. I think he's okay in the ring. He does okay promos, but he's not ready for this spotlight yet. They need to build him up a little bit more. Overall, I want Daniel Garcia to be successful because especially if that's the direction they want to go, but he's not ready for it. And they've pushed him into this and he's falling flat on his face. And this is a disservice to him. It's not helping him. This is a disservice to him in his career, I think.
Right.
And apparently the new angle is we're going to destroy ROH and make it. Do you care about that at all?
No, I don't.
No,
I don't.
But
I don't know I don't even know if it tops the main event here. Pac against Pockets. for the fourth time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new AEW All Mid Champion in pocket.
Well, Josh, they finally did it. They put a title on the company mascot.
Just
now,
an absolute embarrassment. Go ahead.
To be fair, they put a useless title on a useless wrestler. So, like, at least at least uselessness has found each other. So there's that. Josh, we said this
in the most AWA possible. They have Dan Clonson be the reason.
Oh my God.
The pockets.
As soon as Dan Clausen was there, I was like, I felt like the Peter Griff family, like, done. I'm done with this shit. Like, Josh, what do the people see in Danhausen? Can you explain this to me?
It's the same thing as I'm trying to figure out what people still see in Kanye West these days.
Yeah. Woo. Hot takes here on the Hoots podcast. But Josh, like, this is how you're going to embarrass who I feel is one of the best wrestlers in the company in Pac. I think I'd probably put him, I'd go MJF, Acclaimed. I put Pac right under that. I think Pac's awesome. He deserves way better than this. And he needs to get away from AEW as soon as possible. If pay whatever he has to pay to get out of his contract and let him be on his merry way. But this is embarrassing. Pockets is an embarrassment. Are you really trying to tell me that we're supposed to believe that Orange Cassidy can take down Pac? Like, really?
Not only that, Pac, you're right. He should send in his message, his 2-week notice to Tony Khan that he's done. He should pull in Andrade and say he's done. Just wait for it, Brother Carter. Just wait for it. We're going to have the Death Triangle lose these trios titles before you know it to Pockets and Fuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. Sue's going to come out in the car with Dan Clonson. It's going to be a whole bit. I'm just telling you right now. It's going to happen before you know it.
Oh, yeah. They'll probably do it at Full Gear or something like that. Have it close the show or something like that because Tony Khan has this infatuation with Orange Cassidy, and I don't get it.
Bro, Carter, I don't know how that's how's that even worthy of a main event of a worldwide television show? I just don't.
Well, Josh, and I don't know if this is a segue, but it's booked by a guy who thinks that his shit don't stink. And it's booked by a guy who was recently interviewed by a respected wrestling journalist. And the wrestling journalist had some thoughts about his interview with good old Tony. Josh, would you take us through that and kind of give some thoughts about this most recent display by our Lord and Savior Tony Khan?
Before I do that, I'm going to run down the matches for Rampage.
Oh, yes, please do that. Yes, thank you.
Oh, God. Let's see if this tickles your fancies. You think, hey, we're in Toronto, Canada. This is our first time in Canada. How about we put on a competent show? That's just asking too much, Brother Carter. We have FTR and Sean Spears against the Embassy in a trios match.
Whoop-de-doo. Don't care.
After that, we got Ethan Page against Matt Hardy. If Matt Hardy wins, Pride Party leaves the Andrade. Pride Party leaves the firm because the firm bought Pride Party away from the Andrade family office. Don't you see the mental gymnastics? I'm trying to remember this shit here as we're going along.
Josh, if you're tuning into this program for the first time, you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, what are the words coming out of my mouth right now?
I don't know. Yes.
I don't know sometimes either. Anyways, if Ethan Page wins, Matt Hardy has to join the firm with Private Party. If I say Cassidy wins, Private Party leaves the firm. So it's a contract versus contract match. It's a who gives a fuck about me bull. We have Nyla Rose against Anna JAS. And then how about this bad boy? Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, the Blackpool Cuckold Club, against the Butcher, the Baker, with the candlestick maker at the ringside. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the card for AEW Rampage this Friday night.
I have no comment, Josh. This is going to be...
Next! What do you call an embarrassment? Like, what would be an example of an embarrassing thing in Canada? Like, how would you guys describe something that's a civic or international embarrassment?
Oh, when someone doesn't get your Tim Hortons order right there, eh? I don't know.
All right, let's get to this Ariel Helwani interview.
All right, go ahead. By the way, Josh, side note, I hate to, just in case you care, with 3 minutes and 47 seconds left in the second quarter, it is currently 0-0 in the Commanders and Bears game. Sorry, I just had to get out there. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. Let's go with this. This is the interview everybody's been talking about for the last couple of days, and Ariel Helwani had Tony Khan on his program, a special interview they did that aired after last week's Dynamite. I watched this, and I think what's being really lost in the shuffle in this whole thing is that everything that Ariel Helwani said in the segment he did on the MMA Hour last night, that everybody's just taking fully out of context, is that I don't think the people that are lashing out at Ariel Helwani are proving his point about AEW's super freaks or humanoids, whatever the phrase he used to describe them. And the reaction towards this whole situation, even to the point, Brother Carter, that Seltzer and Alvarez did a 20-minute segment on their show last night. I listened to this as I woke up this morning. Am I a glutton for punishment? Or
you are? Yeah. I don't know why you want to. Why do you want to start your day like that? I don't understand.
So that's the first thing I heard this morning was a 20-minute segment with them going over this the comments that he made, and Meltzer questioning his credibility because he disagreed what Ariel said in the conversation. Here's the deal: if you're going to speak on a topic that regards a podcast or an interview, either watch the full thing in its context or shut the fuck up.
Right.
That's my message to everybody, especially the people in the rest of the media that are calling out Ariel Helwani too, because you're proving his point too. Watch that hour and 17-minute Tony Khan interview that I had to sit through last week so I could bring it to the show last week. And it's like, I told Bert Carter this before he went on air, so I'm not going to tell you anything he doesn't know. You want the truth about Tony Khan and AEW and their messaging? They talk out of both sides of their ass. It's okay for Tony Khan at these scrums and I'm busted open where he gets free reign and people that bust open get offended by this. That's not my issue. It's just the truth. They ask them softball questions. You got Mark Henry on the staff who works for AEW. You got David Groke, who's the AEW Mark. They're not going to ask them anything hard because it's having Tony Khan doing a weekly hits on the show. I know how this works because I'm in the media business. It's like having Matt Eberflus, the coach of the Bears, on WBBM here in Chicago, which is the team-run sports talk show, the Bears coaches show. I know how this works. When you have a team-agended show, you're not going to get the questions that you would hear on a local sports talk radio show. But when you go on a show like Ariel Helwani, and you go to these other outlets that are not looking to kiss your ass, you're all about no comment this, no comment that, no comment this, no comment that. You run your mouth about Nick Khan. You run a little promo bit with you and Tony Schiavone saying you're the only true Khan in the wrestling business that matters, right? But when you get asked about it, oh, I can't get into it. I can't say anything about it. Okay, let's put the obvious shit to the side because it really doesn't really need to be said. Yeah, of course, nobody's gonna force you to speak on legal issues. I think that doesn't really need to be talked about as much.
Right.
But here's the deal. All this shit you talk about WWE, all this shit you talk about wrestling in general, about how you are a better booker and business mind in wrestling than Ted Turner and Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo. And this dude runs his mouth, and he, like you said it perfectly, Bert Carter. He acts like his shit don't stink. You couldn't say it any better than what you said, because it's the truth. He plays the cards because he thinks he can say whatever he wants because he got his dad's money. He has Meltzer in his back pocket, and he's Teflon. Nobody can call him on this shit. We say, and we've been calling on his shit since day one. Where's our awards for that? You know.
And Josh, we're not going to put up with this shit anymore.
Yeah, I'm not going to put up with this fucking shit anymore. I'm going to talk about WWE in my media grounds. But when I get questions about WWE, I'm not going to say anything. You are a civic embarrassment to the professional wrestling industry.
Josh, it's, the Young Bucks say their book is killing the business. You want to talk about killing the business? Tony Khan is killing the professional wrestling business. Thank God for Triple H and for Impact and those companies that are doing it right and trying to get people back. I mean, it's Josh, this is going to run out at some point. At some point, you're always going to have the marks that are going to, think that AEW can do no wrong. And listen, if that's you and you love AEW, then, best of luck to you. But eventually, people that have some sort of intelligence are going to go, okay, you know what? I'm good, Tony. Thanks. I'm going to go watch this other product that actually I know what I have something to look forward to every week, as opposed to Dynamite, which I have no idea what I'm going to get every single week on television. I have no idea what I'm going to get. MJF, I know that. I'm going to get the Acclaimed, I know that. But and I'm going to get Jericho, which I don't want to see. That's a bad thing. But other than that, like, what incentive do I have to watch Rampage? Because I don't know or Dynamite, because I don't know what's going to happen every week.
Right. And for those who are going at the Ariel, like, oh, you're just a WWE show because Ariel does some select things with BT Sport. He even said in his video, he said that there was times where he felt things were going stale or whatever with WWE, and he said he was enjoying stuff when CM Punk first came in more with AEW. Look, opinions are opinions. Whether you like AEW or not, I don't give a fuck at the end of the day. I really don't. I watched your shows. I've covered every single event AEW's done since the beginning. I've been to AEW events. I want to succeed, but I'm not going to put a fucking blind eye to the dumb back and forth messaging that they give out to their audience. I asked you this question, Brett Carter. With all the promises they made in that initial press conference in 2019, had they lived up to any of those fucking promises about sports-based wrestling, building an identity, not talking about other promotions, had they lived up to any of that shit?
We've been given a bill of goods, and it has not been followed one time. No, it's absolutely not. They are exactly what we thought it was going to be. They are WCW 2.0. They just happen to have a little bit more money to work with. But at some point, it's going to run out. And TV executives are going to go, I don't know. No, Josh, listen, the AEW is going to be over before we know it. And because they can't sustain this. People are going to enough people are going to realize that Tony Khan is an idiot and are going to just take everything away. They're going to take away sponsorships. They're going to take away when the show declines in ratings. Why, as a TV executive, why would I keep it on if the show keeps declining in ratings?
Right.
So
it's so ass backwards to, try to dictate the terms of when you want to open your big ass mouth. Oh, I'm going to make a full court press towards being the Booker of the Year. Let's say Tony Khan came on this show and I asked him, what have you done this year to really classify yourself as a Booker of the Year? I with a straight face with an answer like that, really?
And the MJF thing, I don't know. Is that it? Is that what he's going to hang his hat on? Is MJF?
Is he going to bring up the demo?
Oh, God. The Ocho, the Wizard.
Yeah, the Wizard. Bret Michaels having his career revitalized. My ass. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I think let's get out of here.
You want to play the song, brother?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks, don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff to leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. All right then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. With this clown show, we've got to get the clown music in one more time. It just has to be done.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for hanging out with us for episode 331 of the podcast. Another fun episode of the books. Make sure to follow Brother Carter, if you'd like, at Twitter at Derek Stoughton. Check out his work at DerekStoughton.com and WrestlingRumors.net as well. If you want to follow him on Instagram, he's at Jericho06. That's Jericho with a D on Instagram. I am Twitter at the Hoots Podcast. Make sure to follow me on Instagram if you like at Josh Lopez Media. Bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com if you could. Leave us a 4 or 5 star review and rating on Apple Podcasts. The podcast comes to you free of charge anywhere you get your podcast from. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe right now. Tell your friends about the Hoots Podcast that we drop every single Thursday, and we appreciate the support. I like to remind everybody to be the authentic product that is yourself, and remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. It'll be a wonderful weekend. Brett Carter, Sir Director of Operations, thank you for coming on as always.
It's always a thrill to be here. We'll be back next week. Same time, same channel, baby. We're going to get it done.
For the Director of Operations, I am the nefarious Brett Adam. This has been episode 331 of the Hoots Podcast. Tony Khan, get your head out of your ass. We're out. Peace.
Yes, sir.